Hey, what's happening, all you amphibians out there? I'm Duuz-Diz-Din, and I'm coming at you with episode 14 of Amphibia Season 2. It's Lost in Newtopia. Let's jump in. As we get a lot of Polly and Anne bonding moments, but we also see that Robo Frog just outside of Newtopia in some hole, just waiting. But we actually get to see the planners and Anne on a tour bus. But Anne is none too pleased with this, as we get to actually see her mom for once. And when they would visit, their native country from time to time, Anne would always want to actually go out and explore the locale, delicacies and the culture and all that, but her mom felt that it would be too much for her Californian living lifestyle. So Anne decides to leave with Polly in order to actually properly explore the culture of Newtopia. And while Anne manages to feign sick in order to get off the bus, Sprig ends up being handcuffed to Hop Hop because of his little stint in running away in the ruins some episodes back. The ancient ruins where the Robo Frog even first appeared. So, nice little double nod to continuity right there. But Anne and Polly set out to explore the inner city of Newtopia, eating some food that wasn't really recommended to them because of its spiciness, and sure enough, it ends up being intensely spicy for the two of them. So spicy to the fact that they burn down the dude's cart, as well as not being able to pay for it because while they do have the king's golden credit card, he guy only takes cash. So they end up being chased off by the guy, but Anne and Polly are not deterred as they still want to go on adventure. And they end up at Tails R Us, getting the finest fashion in Tails. Unfortunately, with Anne's massive tail, she ends up slapping a few too many people in the face with it, including an officer. So they end up being chased by the police, only to be chased into a parade where Anne, undeterred, starts to play around with one of the, figures, the little a mascot thingy. Unfortunately, she gets a little too into it and actually starts to kind of mock it, with it being revealed that it's actually a representation of what was it, Igor the something, Ivan the something, but some really great person in Newtopian history, and she took things a little too far, mocking one of their national heroes. So, and she even accidentally ends up tripping and completely desecrating the figure. So they end up being chased by an angry mob of all these people who they managed to piss off, running right back into the tour bus, and as Anne tries to board the bus, getting captured by the mob. But after some inspirational words by Polly because of their bond for this episode, she grabs one of the rolls from the vendor guy from before who was chasing after them, stuffs it in Polly's mouth, and basically uses her like a flamethrower, leaving a wake of carnage and destruction in their path as they go right back about the tour. So, freaking hilarious episode, a fun time. But we cap off this episode with Marcy and King Andreas in the Royal Library, but unable to find anything on the music box. However, as Marcy goes to get some more bugaccinos to, continue on with their research, she spills it on an ancient tapestry that seems to reveal something underneath. None other than a button that reveals a secret wing of the library that King Andreas says he has no knowledge of. Now, that must be thousands of years old. I don't know if I should believe King Andreas in having no knowledge about this, or maybe he felt that if he just stuck with one of the girls, they would reveal secrets to him that he didn't even know. It's hard to say at this point how I should feel about King Andreas, and if he is the true enemy, or if there's a deeper darkness lurking somewhere else. But that ends the episode, and we continue on into the 15th episode. Sprig gets schooled. As we see the planters and Anne still exploring Newtopia and wanting to come to a rest in a nearby park. But this park is actually a college campus of none other than Newtopia University, the school that Hopadiah had always wanted either Sprig or Polly to go to sometime in the future. But Polly feels that both she and Sprig are very much uncut out for something like this, especially Sprig, who has such a short attention span. And while Sprig kind of denies this, he ends up being caught up in a game with Anne because of said attention span. But he also ends up overhearing how class on how to deal with this monstrous mantis, and Sprig immediately knows the answer, mostly because he's dealt with it before. And he even manages to catch the bug frisbee that Anne throws. And he even just ends up displaying his fiddling talent. And it actually impresses the professor, um, namely Professor Herringbone. And Herringbone actually says to Hopadiah that he would actually like to enroll Sprig in a trial run of being in Newtopia University, much to Hopadiah's surprise. And, Sprig goes with it because it's Hopadiah's dream and he wants to do Hopadiah proud. With Anne just questioning when she hears the news, how long have I been gone, man? So Sprig is enrolled, and he thinks that he'll be able to do his best here, not to want to let Hopadiah down. However, Herringbone lets him know that there are a lot of rules in this place, and he should be wary of them. And Sprig very much ends up getting into trouble left and right. But he's determined to make Hopadiah proud. But because of his childish nature, honestly, it doesn't go so well. Meanwhile, Hopadiah starts to kind of reminisce about Sprig's earlier days and finds that he's just not ready to let Sprig go. Meanwhile, Anne and Polly watch some old college movies, from back in like the 90s and mid 2000s that were all about these kids getting into trouble and suffering no repercussions. And Anne and Polly decide that they want to break into Newtopia U in order to party it up college style. Meanwhile, Sprig is having a less than fun time, as all the learning and experience has been exhausting. But me personally, I'm like, dude, it's your first day. It never goes that great the first day. But Herringbone actually feels that while Sprig hasn't been the best student, he feels that all they have to do is just push him a little harder. So he decides that they'll forego the trial period and fully enroll Sprig in Newtopia U, where it'll be even more difficult than before, much to Sprig's dismay. So, as soon as it's lights out, Sprig decides he's gonna book it, only for the school to go into a complete and utter lockdown, with Hopadiah seeing this and fearing the worst, thinking that they might be trying to kidnap Sprig. Meanwhile, Anne and Polly break their way in, only to set off an alarm, meaning that Sprig's jailbreak ends up kind of getting compromised, especially when they send in the Weevils, who are essentially like guard dogs. And as Sprig gets chased off by the Weevils, Anne spots Sprig, and the Weevils spot Anne and Polly. So while the Weevils are busy with Anne and Polly, Sprig sees Hopadiah, who ended up getting stuck in the fence because gotta lay off them bug burgers. You and me both, buddy. But he ends up getting stuck in the fence trying to get to Sprig, only for Herringbone to encounter their them both wondering what's going on here, and explaining to them, once he learns what they think, that ultimately this is a form of protection for the students, as they feel that they can't be too careful when it comes to just making sure that nothing happens to their student. Just keeping things under control for the most part, and keeping any weirdos out of Newtopia U. Weirdos like Anne and Polly, who broke their way in, who were looking to party. But ultimately, Sprig and Hoppediah kind of reconcile, with Sprig telling Hoppediah he's not ready for any of this, and Hoppediah saying that he's not ready to let Sprig go. And he might never be, honestly, with Sprig letting down Herringbone gently, with Herringbone said that, you know what, the offer will still stand no matter how long it takes. If you ever want to come back, we'll welcome you with open arms, which is very nice. It's a nice little path that's open to Sprig in the future, for his future. And then they're just like, okay, let's get back to our big old party. And it's like, and Polly are just like, knew it. They are partying in there. But the planters end up just having a nice little night to themselves, playing with the frisbee once again. A sweet, fun little episode, but I really am wondering what's the deal with the library, and what is that robot after? What's going on there? Something about Newtopia's history is about to get revealed, and I'm very curious as to what it is. So tell me your thoughts and theories in the comment section below. Is King Andreas trying to unearth some ancient weapon, or is there an ancient prophecy that only the humans who have been transported to Newtopia can avert? Is King Andreas trying to prevent a calamity, or is King Andreas the calamity itself? Tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. If you like this video, leave me a like. If you didn't, feel free to leave me a dislike, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. That way you never miss out on another Amphibia episode review. And until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.